Hey, folks, welcome back to the Straight to the Money podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Silver. This episode is brought to you by Silver Property Ventures. If you have an assignable contract, distressed real estate, or if you have the need for coaching in any way in the real estate space, reach out to Silver Property Ventures, LLC. My guest on the podcast today is Edgar Castro, new to Dallas, but in the hard money game goes by Hard Money E. Edgar,
Yes, sir.
go.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Excited.
Let's start off at the top. How did we meet? We met here recently. How did we meet?
Yeah, it was only like, I think 3.5 weeks ago, maybe. I came to Dallas for a networking event, obviously for work, and was also just visiting to find apartments because I was moving out here. So yeah, just a few weeks ago at a networking event. So
That's right. And I said it was rooftop. I don't even know what area of DFW this was in, but I'm in Denton, so I know I drove pretty far into Dallas. Was it Fort Worth or was it Dallas?
I believe it was Fort Worth,
I want to say it
if
felt
I'm
like
not
a Fort Worth
mistaken.
vibe. It didn't
Yeah,
feel like.
it was Granada, I believe. The Sundown at Granada, I believe, was the event or
Better memory than
the
me.
place we held it at. Yeah.
So you were moving from Arizona to DFW, and this is now your second week in DFW.
Yeah, about almost 3 weeks now, but yeah,
Okay.
very fresh new here.
How are you liking it?
Man, honestly, people are super friendly. It's honestly gives me a lot of hometown vibes, just like Arizona, but so far everybody's been pretty open hands and super friendly, man. I got nothing but love for the place so far, so.
Let me tell you, the people that I've spoken with in Arizona, in general, on my podcast that I run outside of here, and then also uh, in general, have just been
Hmm.
so welcoming and so full of life. I'm like, is Arizona like country Florida?
Hmm.
Is it like Florida but with cactuses? What's going on? Because we don't have that
It
energy in Texas. We don't. Dude, what is
it
going on in Arizona?
Yeah, no, it's a little. I mean, I wouldn't say it's too different. I feel like people are just as friendly here, to be honest.
Oh,
But
good.
Arizona definitely just has that hometown feel. Down to a clerk at the gas station, or somebody at a restaurant, whoever it is, they're just super friendly. Of course, you get your one-offs, people that are can be assholes, whatever it is. But for the most part, everybody's pretty nice. But Dallas has been about the same, man. Like I said, pretty. At least anytime I tell someone I'm brand new in the area, they're so willing to tell me, hey, you got to try this place, or everyone's just so willing to at least give some cool information about the place. They seem like they love it for sure.
This is the right game to be in for that. For the real estate game is the perfect game for that. Are you from Arizona, born and raised?
Yeah, originally born and raised in Yuma, which is a small little corner of Arizona. But yeah, born
Okay.
and raised in Arizona.
And then which metro were you in? I'm imagining you moved to a metro.
So, I mean, fresh out of high school, I moved to Tucson for about
Okay.
5 years, and then from Tucson went back home for about a year and a half, and then I ended up going up to Scottsdale, and then
Oh
kind of
man.
was there for I was there for only I think 9 months, and then
Now you're
yeah,
coming
officially
here.
just got out here.
Okay. Scottsdale seems like the place to be. I mean, I feel like if I don't move to Fort Lauderdale and I don't move to Southern California, which I definitely can't afford to move there, and I'm definitely not moving there, but it's nice over there. It's nice. I would look at Scottsdale. It just seems so beautiful. Seems so beautiful. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Dude, no, it's man, it's nice. I definitely love the place. But it wasn't too hard leaving it just because I think I grew up all around Arizona. So, but if it wasn't for that, like with work leaving or wanting me to leave, I would have stayed in Scottsdale or stayed in Arizona. It's beautiful, man. There's a lot of opportunities. It's a big city. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong there for sure.
Dude, so many. I have so many stories. Just a quick aside. There's like a Snoopy mountain in Sedona where
A
my
Snoopy
parents
Mountain.
and I visited when I was a child. It's a
Okay.
literal rock that looks like
Mhm.
Snoopy,
Mhm.
the character from Charlie Brown. And so
Yeah.
I remember my mom had like, I want to say it was like a cactus margarita. I'm a young
Yeah.
kid, and
Yeah.
I guess I can only imagine that Sedona's been developed quite a bit since then. But
Oh
when we
yeah.
were there,
Oh
it was
yeah.
very, very, very uh, tourist heavy. At least it felt like to us, and maybe it's changed since then.
It still is. No, it still is for sure. It's a hot commodity though, man. I mean, they have a bunch of beautiful Airbnbs and different trails and hikes. Like Sedona is a really nice place in Arizona, actually.
Super nice.
It's really nice. That's where you said. How old were you when you went and visited?
I feel like I had to be somewhere in the ballpark of like 8 to 12. I'm throwing out.
Oh,
8
you were
to 12.
young.
Yeah.
Is that the only time you've gone to Arizona?
Only time I've been to Arizona.
Oh man. Yeah, you definitely got to go out, man. There's a bunch of outdoor stuff out there. If that's kind of your thing, whether
Yeah.
it's hiking, camping, there's a lot north that's more like snow. Tucson has a lot more trails, but Tucson is a very hometown feel as well. But Scottsdale, Phoenix, that's going to be your big metro where you have your big, skyscrapers and big traffic, but obviously a lot more stores. There's a lot more things to do in Phoenix in general, but it's nice, man. You definitely got to go.
On that same trip, we went to go see the Grand Canyon. Have you been there?
Okay. I've actually never been to the Grand Canyon, ironically, but
It is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. So I've had a couple of experiences where me touching down or being on the ground completely changed my life. One of them was touching down in Santo Domingo in 2023, and
Okay.
I'm aware, like, whoa, no one is speaking English, or if it is, it's heavily broken English, like even the people
Right.
that are stamping on. And then my cell phone isn't working with they
Oh,
didn't even
shoot.
have G, they have Claro. And so
Yeah.
I'm over there and I'm like, I don't speak a lick of Spanish. I
Right.
better learn. And dude, you want to talk about trial by fire? I learned some damn Spanish
Just
quickly.
throw yourself in there, yeah.
Quickly. Dude, they have like multiple
hilarious,
streets
man.
named Calle number 5. And so if you put it in, you could be going to any one of those streets. So here I
Yeah.
am, like, trying to find Calle number 5. I have no, dude, it was talk about third worlding, no Spanish.
You said it was a few years ago you went?
Oh no, I'm so deep, Edgar, into Dominican culture at this point.
No way. How long were you out there for?
I was out there for, I want to say 3 days, but I've now been back there a month and a half.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never gone outside the country like that. Besides Mexico, visiting, where my family's from, but I've
Yeah.
never been outside of the country like that.
Yeah, I tell people
That's an
if you want
experience,
to
man.
learn, if you want to learn Spanish, go to a place where there's not a tourist destination, and you
Oh, yeah.
will learn Spanish.
Bro, that's yeah. I don't know how you would do that. I mean,
You gotta have some courage. So I went out
Oh.
there, I rented the car, and I was like, hey, look, I'm trying to just really go in and learn Spanish. I'm trying to go in and see how great American culture is.
wait, were you by yourself?
By myself, no one,
Bro,
me.
what? I was thinking the whole time. I was like thinking you're with like someone that
No.
knows how to speak Spanish or like
No.
what?
Think about how crazy that is. Yeah,
Yeah,
2023.
that's what I'm saying. That's recent. That's like, man, you got some balls, man. That's
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen the movie Jason Bourne with Matt Damon?
Oh man, I've seen it, but I've only seen. I only remember like parts of it. But
So,
shoot.
dude, I watched that movie before going to. There's like the Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne Supremacy. I forget.
Yeah,
what the
there's a
first one's
bunch,
for.
yeah.
It might be one of those two, but there's a couple of them. And I watched just how he moved, and I was like, okay, I need to be moving with some
said all
level
confidence.
with some level of awareness. You know what I'm saying? And so, dude, let me just tell you a quick DR story. By the way, I have a Dominican fiance now. So we're this deep into this now that I have a Dominican fiance. So I'm in Santo Domingo.
Insane,
I
man.
touch down, and as I'm touching down, I realize my phone does not have reception. So
man.
I'm like, okay, this isn't good. I get a rental car. I overpay for the rental car. It was crazy. I'm cruising the streets, and dude, talk about no rules. Like they would say that they have rules, but in
Oh.
my mind, there's zero rules happening. Like oncoming traffic swerving into you on the highway, and you're like playing chicken. There's
You're
a
just sitting in the back stressing, right? Like,
Yes, there's a dude with a garbage bag over his head and like what looks like a motorized bike on the highway, and it's pouring rain.
Yeah,
okay?
man. It's
so
different.
I'm
Third world countries are
Going
different.
around Santo Domingo Este, no Spanish. Okay, trying to find this road. Dude.
Man, dude, I wouldn't know what to do in that situation whatsoever. I mean, growing up my life, I've always known English and Spanish. So, I've never been in a situation where I didn't know the actual or
Let me
needed to
tell
know the
you how
language,
fast I learned Spanish, bro. By the end of those 3 days,
Dude, I mean, I believe it. You're married, fiance,
spoke
Dominican, come
Spanish.
on.
So then I came back, and every successive time that I've been back there, and I tell this to people, you will learn. So if you really want to learn something, just give yourself no option. Your brain will figure
Oh
out
man,
ways.
man, come on. That's the best way to learn anything. Throw yourself in the fire, man. Come on.
So
That's hilarious, bro.
segue for me. So I moved up to DFW because of my mentor, who's in this picture over here. He's in the, at least for me, he's in the top.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see him. Yeah, yeah.
And I sold everything in my apartment in San Antonio. I had lived there for, not in that specific apartment, but in San Antonio for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that I had to get up to DFW based off the words of my mentor. He's like, this is the spot to be. If you're going to be in Texas and you're going to be in real estate, you're going to be in DFW. So I had a couple wholesale deals in San Antonio that didn't go the way that I wanted to go, one in
Mm-hmm.
particular. And then I sold everything and drove up in my Dodge Challenger with as much stuff as I could possibly pack into it. Boxes, like every, it couldn't see out of any
Yeah.
window. I sold so much stuff. I didn't even have a place to stay. I just got up here and I'm like, we're gonna figure it out. And we figured it out, Edgar. We
Man,
figured it out.
yo, we have very similar stories, man. Very similar stories. That's crazy. But how'd you meet your mentor though? Was it like through Instagram? How'd you guys connect, or how did that start?
No, no. So when I tell people this, fanatical networking, guerrilla networking is the key to success in real estate. In a lot of things, but definitely in real estate. So what happened with me
Absolutely.
was I had a property under contract
Mm-hmm.
in Azle, which is west of Dallas.
So you were wholesaling by yourself though
No, so I
before
was
that.
wholesaling with a group, a company that
Okay, okay.
that didn't they didn't end up making it, but that
Right.
company was in San Antonio. I had this property in Azle, and so on
Gotcha.
Investor Lift, which is a investor
Mm-hmm.
platform and for wholesale,
Yeah, I used it. Yep.
I saw that this guy Ryan Jackson owned these properties. So I then call Ryan and I'm like, hey, I've got this property under contract. He told me basically my photos are terrible. He didn't like the photos. I think he made an offer on the deal. We couldn't end up getting it done. But we became friends over time, and here I am. My podcast studio, which I'm calling you out of, is on his
Yeah,
ranch, you know?
man. Yeah, it's just crazy how things work, man. I'm a firm believer, everything happens for a reason, and it's crazy how life works out, man. Because it's a very similar story, at least how I like fell into fully, real estate and obviously in the hard money side of things. But I mean, yeah, man, this was only what, maybe a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, because I was back home in Yuma, man, I've been in sales all my life, had a personal training, company for about 4 years in total, but then left that and then ended up getting into wholesaling, right? So went
Mm,
back home to Yuma, was doing personal training on the side, and then started doing wholesaling. And then did that for about 9 months, almost 10 months, stayed in the game, learned the ins and outs. And so I was moving up to Phoenix to originally start a door knocking team for us, just to go door knock, obviously all the pre-foreclosures and, all the houses. And so moved up there and things weren't really rolling. We didn't really initiate a team. And same to you, bro. I was literally in Yuma, packed everything that I could in my car and drove up to Phoenix. And, I have a really good friend out there in Phoenix that owns a fleet company. He has, really, two companies, a fleet company and then a car wash company. He
yeah.
provided me a job, at least for the time being, bro. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. So I was delivering medical supplies, wholesaling, and then I started door knocking with the solar company. So I was just trying to get in with what I could while I was still trying
I
to
feel
stay in
that.
real estate, you know? And man, I was living in like a pad split. So
Yeah.
it was nine rooms, all right? 9 rooms with 10 different roommates. And but I was just like, you know what? I just need a room. I just need somewhere to sleep. I said, I just want to go to Phoenix because I know that's where the opportunity is. Right. So fast forward, I'm in the middle of, juggling a few jobs and still wholesaling. And I remember just going on Indeed and just looking up wholesalers because I just wanted to see what wholesaling companies were out there. And I only had like maybe 2 months in Phoenix at the time, or Scottsdale. And yeah, so as I'm door knocking for solar, I'm on Indeed, and I come across Capital Fund One, and it says wholesaling experience is good, and so it kind of just from everything they had put just kind of hit everything that I was looking for. So I was like, screw it, man, applied, whatever. They ended up calling me about a week later, and man, from there we kind of just hit it off. It was actually Luis and Jacob who called me. That's the manager, or Luis is the manager at Arizona, Jacob's our VP, and so. Interview the next day, hit it off, and pretty much took off from there, man. Like started up in December with them, and essentially going from wholesaling where I was just doing all straight dispositions, obviously just pushing deals to straight investors. When you get into lending, you're talking to the same people, but it's just a different conversation, because before it was, hey, I have a deal for you. Now it's, I can fund your deal, so getting on the money side of things to me is just, man, I don't know. It's exciting, brother. Like, I love being in the space I'm in just because I'm able to provide a service that everyone needs. Everyone needs money, And so it's just, yeah, man, like took off all December, literally was just cold calling. It was all just creating a book of business. And I would say it's a little bit of luck. Obviously, when you come across a big deal, you got to be able to know how to handle it and talk to the borrower correctly or whatever the case is. But dude, I ended up coming across a super big deal. It was basically a $10 million deal, 160 units that I got to fund out here in Longview, Texas, actually. This is my second week into the job when I found this deal. Man, I told him everything incorrect because I was just so new into the job, but I was willing to, like you said, man, it's just how you connect with people, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
we just really took off, man, hit it off with the guy that I was able to at least go back on my words and be like, hey, man, like, it was not the rate I told you, not the points, but long story short, we ended up getting it done. And that's kind of where it really sparked for me, where like the lending side of things on it's how real it is and the money. And it was just, that was the main point for me that I was like, all right, this is definitely what I want. Like, this is what I want to do, man. Like, it's so much fun.
So was it life-changing money and then also proof of concept in that one deal?
Both. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you go from wholesaling, which I've done, 20 or so wholesale deals combined with myself and with others. And then you go to the hard money side. So you're learning these new skills. Now, I'll briefly describe wholesaling to people, and then I'll let you describe hard money to people. So wholesaling, to use real estate terms, I'm a licensed realtor here now, newly in Dallas. So when you get a property under contract, there's an option period during which you're not obligated to buy the property. You can back out if you want, and it's no penalty to you except you have to pay the option fee. So to our audience, this is what's going on here. So there's wholesalers who will go, they'll get a property under contract, and then during that option period, they can go and look for buyers, at which point, if they don't find one, all they're out is their option money. Also, too, you could do that after your option period, but then you're just obligated to buy the property if you don't find one. So it's better to do it in the option period. And then you quite literally assign the property to them, and you mark up what you got the property under contract for, and you assign it to this buyer for a higher price, and then you get the difference. And you do that typically during the executory period, which is when the property is optionable, if I'm explaining this correctly. When it hasn't been, it's either when it hasn't been executed or to completion, meaning it hasn't gone to closing, or when it is in the option period, one of the two. And so that's wholesaling in a nutshell. Basically, you're selling the paper. But what is hard money lending?
So hard money lending, I mean, essentially we just help people obviously with loans come up with money to be able to close on deals. But I mean, it's the biggest thing, I guess, that makes us different in that aspect is just being able to close quick, because not a lot of people can close quick, especially with like these pre-foreclosures or deals that have to go very fast. There's a lot of people putting in a lot of offers, so you might lose on a deal if you don't have the money, right there. And so, yeah, essentially we just come in, we're able to give somebody a loan, they're able to pick up the property, and then obviously put in the renovations, flip it, and then everybody makes their spread on that. So, but yeah.
So, to our listeners who may be thinking about this and thinking, well, why would anyone get a hard money loan? Why wouldn't they just go get a bank loan?
Well, see, that's because we don't do any credit checks. We don't need appraisals. I mean, it's all asset based. So we're just looking at the property itself. You can be a first time flipper, right? And if you have a really good deal, we could potentially get up to 90% of the purchase price. And then we have rates down at like 10.5. So, I mean, like I said, it just really depends on the deal itself. And, you don't need a credit. And it's only like a 12-month term compared to banks. They might have, I believe, either some lower rates, but they have big credit checks, or they have credit checks, and then they have different terms, and then they take about 3 to 4 weeks to really close on deals.
Right.
And again, if you're trying to pick up a deal that is a hot deal and there's putting a lot of offers, you're probably going to lose that. If you're having to wait 3 to 4 weeks.
When people talk about DSCR loans, do you guys do these? I forget what the acronym exactly stands for. Debt service. Help me out here.
Coverage ratio. Yeah, debt service coverage ratio. So yeah, we do those as well. So we have a really good DSCR department too. And so those are going to be for your long-term rentals, right? The buy and holds. And so you're looking at a 30-year term. You got rates, we got floor rates down to 6.5 right now, 6.5%. And I believe bottom line credit is 625. I may be butchering it just because it's not my department, but yeah, DSCR, yeah, essentially I believe it's 625 bottom line credit. But yeah, I mean, that's also a product that we carry as well.
Very interesting. So to our audience, hearing all these terms, it could sound like a lot, but basically there's two sides to what we're talking about here. There's being a wholesaler, which is you're selling the paper, and then there's being a hard money lender, which is you're not a bank in the traditional sense. You're not giving someone's not taking out a mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. You're not a mortgagee, but right. You are a lender of money. And it is a way for people to get access to capital who might not otherwise have access to this capital. And this is the hard money Correct. Space. So going back to your journey here. So you get this big deal, life-changing, both monetarily and then proof of concept. At this point, is it, hey, I got to move to Dallas, or is that already in the works before that happened?
No, so that was actually like my first full month selling, and okay. That's when I hit that big deal, and it just, like as you said, proof is in the pudding, right? And so, yeah, we kind of just started obviously rolling, and it was about, what are we in now, April? Yeah. So about like midway March, still doing my thing, and obviously still newer to the game, but making my way around and doing as much as I can around the office, and the opportunity just came across that, well, Texas, we just didn't have any Spanish speakers, like Spanish speaking loan originators out here. And so, shout out to the manager at Arizona, Luis. He was the only Spanish speaking, originator at the time. And so once I stepped in, I was like, all right, I see how well he does. And, so I was like, man, if Texas needs a Spanish speaker, I can only imagine the opportunity that's there, especially if there's no connections, there's no mingling, there's no networking, you know what I mean? And so we can only do so much from Arizona if we're just calling. Yeah. But if you're out here in the city and you're able to actually get in the actual community of real estate, yeah, and that's where I saw the opportunity. And so, yeah, it was literally just a talk in the office that me and my VP had. And I said, I was like, man, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have kids. I said, I will go. I said, I am willing to go. If the opportunity's there. And so, yeah, I mean, 2 weeks later, it was an official thing. And then 2 weeks after that, that's when I started looking at apartments, and a month and a half goes by now, and here we are.
So how deep are you into hard money in general? How long have you been doing this?
I started in December, officially. December.
So like 4 months.
5 months, yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is incredible. Okay, so you're 5 months in. You were a wholesaler before. You're 5 months in, big deal, moving to a new city, new state. possibly even a slightly different culture.
Yep.
Y también yo no sé que hay muchos hispanohablantes en esa
And
carrera de hard money, pero claro que sí. So you have this opportunity to speak Spanish to people who are in the investment space, who basically that's their comfortable language. So I
hmm
don't run into these people because I'm going to real estate meetups and I'm not seeing a lot of Spanish speakers as their first language. One of the things, maybe we should do it. Maybe we should make a meetup for Spanish speakers as their first language who are in the real estate
come
investment
on.
space.
I think it's just it was something that we also saw in Arizona. To be honest, there's just not a lot of I just don't think there's not a lot of people that obviously speak Spanish that don't know about hard money. There's not a big crowd of that, and so that's where again we see the gap, and I see the opportunity. And coming to Texas is also, I mean, same thing. There's not a lot of people that speak Spanish, or it being their first language, that they just don't know about hard money.
They don't know about it, and the crazy thing is let's get really real here. They're the people that are, in many cases, building these homes. How
Come on,
many of these crews? I can tell you,
come on.
for my money's worth, it has already been helpful to me. I don't have any deeds in my name or an LLC that I own, but when I go on a site and then I can communicate with the guys, trust me, it's helpful.
Come on.
if
You know that.
if I'm doing a flip, and I'm going to be hiring out workers, predominantly Spanish speakers, I want to be able to know what's going on in those conversations, and I do know,
Of course.
right?
Of course.
And so when you don't have that, really, it's a communication barrier. It's a giant
Yeah.
communication barrier. So pivoting a bit here, Edgar. So you're in this space. You're carving out really a niche, which is hard money loans, Spanish speakers, of course English speakers as well. But we're going to also help the Spanish speaking community. How are you finding these type of leads? Because I would imagine, a lot of like we were saying, a lot of people who are in that space, Spanish as their first language, might not immediately be reaching out to hard money lenders unless
Yep.
they already know what's going on with that. So how are you coming about this?
So, I mean, besides our own book of contacts that we have, I mean, essentially it's networking, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. That's one thing that I'm really big about is Instagram. And yeah, I mean, that's predominantly a big thing, probably Facebook and Instagram and networking. I mean, there's really nothing else to it. And word of mouth would probably be the last thing. If you're doing a good job, at least getting the message across the way, somebody's going to know who you are, especially if they're going to need hard money.
I was just thinking about how to even have this conversation in Spanish. It's a new words that I do not know. But
Son palabras nuevas, son palabras nuevas. It's
sí,
okay,
muchas
man.
palabras nuevas para mí. Ahí es un poco confundido. Pero, yeah, man. So going back to the Spanish thing, I'm in the Dominican, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I have some basic understanding of Spanish, like as a
hmm
language, but I'm in the Dominican. And so this is my testimony. They're speaking Dominican in the Dominican.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's very different Spanish,
They're
man. It's all
speaking
slang. It's all
Dominican in
different
the
slang. Yeah.
Dominican. Okay.
hmm
And so some of my funniest, this is just a complete aside, some of my funniest just Dominican words is a t-shirt is a polo shirt. You know, any cereal. Lucky Charms is cornflake.
Cornflake. And we do that in Mexico too. It's the same thing. Mexico's the same way. Cornflakes. Yeah.
I'm like, you know what?
That's
They
funny.
honestly nailed it with cornflakes.
'Cause
They
yeah,
honestly, because this looks like cornflakes. I don't know what that is. Cornflake. You know,
yeah, man. That's hilarious.
Airbnb, which by the way, I talk about this on other podcasts. It's the most popular booking platform right now in the world. It's not your Hilton's. It's Airbnb. It's
Yeah,
Airbnb, and it's like
I believe that.
it's pretty incredible. So in the Dominican, it's so popular that basically, from my understanding, any time that someone is booking like a residence, even maybe
hmm
potentially a hotel, they're calling it a B&B. Now they're not saying air.
B and
They've
B.
taken, yeah, un B&B,
Un
buka un
B&B.
B&B, Dilang.
Bro,
So
I mean, it's you. They're either taking words out or adding into it. Because in Mexico, when you say Sprite, they say
that's
Sprite.
right.
There's no e in front of the Sprite. So where's that coming from?
Oh man.
It's that's hilarious, bro.
Oh man.
That's hilarious.
Short aside. So I might get in trouble for this. So I ended up sending my fiance to an English school, right? So
Hmm.
that she could learn to speak English. So she goes to
Yeah,
this English
yeah,
school. And Esme, if you're watching this, I apologize in advance.
yeah.
I feel like she went through the whole school, and dude, the English is still struggle city. Struggle city.
So where'd my money go, right? Where'd my money go?
The name of the class was Inglés por Inmersión. Okay?
Inglés por
Immersion.
inmersión.
English by immersion. Okay?
Okay, okay,
She's going
inmersión,
there
yeah.
like hours a day, Monday through Friday. So I'm thinking like English, making this
Right.
happen. Yeah.
Overnight
Yeah.
success, no.
She goes there for months. No English by the end of it. Like I'm talking, I can't speak to her in
How,
English. Like, so I'm like, what was it? She's like, no, I can read it. I can read it. I can read. I'm like, okay, okay.
so how'd you guys even communicate now though? Or I mean before
Dude,
she went to school and everything.
dude,
How
that was,
ain't no way, bro.
dude.
No
So
way.
the
No way.
Google Translate. I don't have internet access out there, so the Google Translate, unless I'm on Wi-Fi, was not working. So I meet her out there, and I'm like, wow, that is the most
No
beautiful
way.
woman I can possibly imagine, right? So we're talking, and I have zero clue what she's saying. And I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure she has no idea what I'm saying. But I'm like, this is a great time. Like, look at how beautiful this woman is. And then let's go eat some food. So we're going to
Hey,
eat some food. And dude, so that was the first time that that was like my first getting to know her. Then I went back multiple times. The reception from her family was utterly unbelievable. Like every woman in her family, I felt like cooked food for me and friends.
oh yeah, come on now.
Dude,
Yeah, it's that hospitality, man.
let me
Come
dive
on.
deeper into this, dude. So I'm out there, and the sister, who's and like an esthetician, like a beauty
Hmm.
person, ended up like I just met her. She gives me a pedicure, and I'm like, what? What?
Yeah, that's that real family love, man. Oh, what?
Yeah,
Come
you have
on, you
no
got
idea,
treated like a king, bro.
dude. Like an absolute king. Every minute there was some new woman who was peeking her head around the corner, being like, "Tienes hambre? Tienes
Tienes
hambre?"
hambre? That's every Spanish grandma, I swear. Anytime you go over, that's what they always ask. ¿Tienes hambre, mijo? ¿Quieres algo para comer? That's the first thing. Always, always, they gotta make sure you're fed.
Oh
That's
my
that's
gosh.
like it's a culture thing.
My suegra, I'll text her and she'll be like, have you eaten?" And I'll be like,
Yep.
"Yeah." And I'm like, these people care like a lot. Like it's
So
amazing.
does any of her family speak English also or no?
Her father speaks some English, which she didn't even know. I just started talking to him in English, and he was like talking back to me, and I was like,
Whoa,
"Yeah,
taken back by it. No way.
yeah,
That's hilarious.
yeah."
No
So
way.
it was totally crazy. Yeah, 100%. But basically, man, so I come back to the U.S. and
Hmm.
I'm here, and I'm like, dude, we don't have the community that they do over there. We just don't. Like the level of they're never eating alone. Like the people will have get-togethers, and then they'll bring their friends and their friends and their friends.
So,
And then
yep.
there's like, like people will bring their family over on a Tuesday night at like
Yeah, it's a big
midnight.
culture. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what is going on? So I tell people, and I've said this, and I said this so many times, if you're thinking that like you don't have the friend group and so on and so forth, it honestly might just be America. Like it really might. We're heavily individualistic, like heavily. And if
Oh
all I
yeah,
had to do was show up with no Spanish and just kind of generally be kind to people,
dude. That's actually funny you say that because I literally just came across a video either on Instagram or Facebook, and they were just mesmerized at the fact that there was people in just a regular neighborhood, kids playing, and there was neighbors hanging out, and they were like having to make a video of it and make such an image to not that should be the normal though. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
that should be an everyday, every weekend, every feeling type of thing.
So last
So,
aside on Santo Domingo, This is after I had proposed to her. I'm walking down Barrio de Santo Domingo.
yep,
It's what it said in Google Maps. So I'm like, "Whoa, that's pretty.
Barrio de Santo
Yeah,
Domingo.
that's pretty straightforward."
Barrio the hood, right, right, right.
Yeah. And so, to be fair, by Santo Domingo standards, it was still pretty legit. So we're going down, And I felt like everyone knew I was there, like after a couple of minutes, like
Yeah.
after like half an hour. And so we're going, we're hanging out in this one area. Her sisters are there. This dude comes and he's like, "Where's the American?" And I'm like, "Whoa,
Whoa,
whoa,
what?
what? Where's the
What do you
American?"
mean? What's going
And
on?
so like other people start to realize that, and I, to this day, when I talk to people about community, this is what I mean. The whole street ended up knowing that I was there. This is in a densely populated city. So at some point in time, between me being a little bit uncomfortable and probably between her checking up on what time it was and seeing that I was a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable, we were like, let's get out of here. So we ended up leaving.
Whoa.
But that's like like they have like their telepath. I don't know what the term. They're
They're
like linked
so
up.
yeah, they're all well, yeah, they're all just connected, man. They're all connected. That's what I'm saying. Neighbor knows something. Your neighbor, yeah, it's a big community. I would say Mexico's kind of the same way for sure. Because my family all comes from Mexico, and I remember even going to my grandma's house or my aunt's house because my grandma's house had my cousin's house in front of her, my other aunt's house next to them. So it was like our whole block was our family, and then I got uncles and or cousins and uncles that they're just so well connected to their neighbors and they're always over at their houses. So I don't know if it's like a Spanish culture thing or just a culture in general, like different outside of the U.S. for sure.
Dude, I could talk about this all day. So I come back to the U.S., right? Community, so on and so forth. And honestly, one of the ways which this impacted me was that I realized that networking has gears. So
hmm
there's a gear where I started out when I was selling cars at Nissan, which is I'm going to go to one meetup a month. And to me, that was a lot of work because I was doing 12, 14-hour days. We called it bell to
Yeah,
bell.
yeah.
And so that was a lot of work. I would have to find time to go either devote a day or an evening somehow to go to a
hmm
networking event. Then it was I'm going to go to two a month, then one a week. Okay. And now I have a job outside of here where I host at least 3 podcasts a day. So I'm meeting like 3 strangers a day. I
Yeah.
also run, I shouldn't say run. I also facilitate people getting into a real estate mastermind. So I'm connected in
hmm
that way. I also try to go to 2 meetups a week, like in the real estate space, and then have people like yourself on the show. So when I think about that and I'm thinking like, wow, I'm really meeting a lot of people, Edgar, I still feel like in comparison to what I personally experienced on a random Tuesday, this was in Santo Domingo Este, I'm not networking as hard as like they're just living. Like they'll just
No,
meet
they
people every day for like someone like, oh yeah,
they're all connected.
oh, it's
Yeah.
2 in the morning. There's a kid running around. Like, oh my gosh.
No, yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's communication is a big thing, especially in real estate for sure. But it is a little different to the outside culture for sure, especially Mexico or the Dominican for sure.
Let's pivot a bit here, Edgar. So, talking about networking and you going from personal training to wholesale to hard money, uh, you must get this a lot. You have a very like charismatic. You could feel the energy, definitely in person and through the screen as well. What's your approach to networking, and is it as systematic as mine, or is it really more of just a natural thing for you? And it's like I'm just gonna go and see where this takes me.
Honestly, it's probably something I picked up from my pops just growing up. He was just a big advocate just to say, you treat other people the way you want to be treated. And my dad, didn't matter who he talked to, it was always the same type of conversation, the same type of love, but it was also the love he receives from people that still to this day, like, is the coolest thing for me to see. Cause it just seems like my dad is the man for everybody to be like, hey, they call him Siete, that's his nickname, Siete, right? And they'll be like, hey, Siete, like, do you know somebody for this? They'll just call him for random things, show up to the house, and they just like my dad's the OG, he's the OG back home, and so it just it's cool, man. It's really cool to see that love, but it's just because my dad is such a charismatic, loving person, and so I definitely say it comes from that, and it's taken me a really really far place for sure.
Dude, we can't speed past the fact that your dad's nickname is Seven. What?
That we could talk about that one later. That's a different story, man. I can't air out why his name is Siete, but the people back home know. But he's an OG, Siete. For sure.
That is
For
phenomenal
sure.
work. So 5 months in hard money lending. Let's talk about some real estate strategies for people who are in the W-2. I specifically have a lot of people still in the car business. I also know
Hmm.
lots of people who are in government work, various different fields, people that are, teachers and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
For my money's worth, if people want to get into the real estate space, they can definitely look at hard money lending as a way to get access to capital. They can also look at something that I've heard about now is Airbnb arbitrage, which is where
Hmm.
you will take a rental and rent it out on Airbnb or put it on Airbnb and then you pay your rent. But
Yep.
you could get properties off the MLS. There's so many ways to do this. You could syndicate and put in money with a group of other people and buy. What's your advice to folks, or do you have a perspective on this for how they can get into the real estate space?
I am just such a big advocate of like Facebook and Instagram because Facebook, you have just so many groups that you can join, whether it's all the wholesaling groups, you have hard money pages on there as well. I mean, I just think Facebook is just, and I'm such a big advocate because going back to my personal training journey,
Yeah.
that's how I started, that's how I marketed, and that's how I got all my business. It was Facebook and Instagram because Instagram, you will be able to reach, I guess, more of a outworld, all over the country type of atmosphere or space. Facebook gets you local business, local marketing, always, because you're able to join all those groups, you know? And so even when I started wholesaling, I was doing the exact same thing, joining all the different groups, all the different states we were in. And then when I got into hard money, exact same thing. I'm literally going through, Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, Georgia,
Yeah.
Colorado, and I'm just going on there posting every day, every day. And I mean, man, I'm getting deals off of it, and still to this day, I think it's still one of the best things you can do.
Facebook networking. So funny you mentioned that. I ended up buying a couple Facebook groups with like 80,000 people in it a couple years ago.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that strategy to people, but I can say that Facebook, if you utilize it, is a heck of a marketing platform. Like it really, really is. You're not the
Oh
first
yeah.
person. You're definitely not going to be the last person that I hear tells me they're running a whole operation practically off of Facebook. Um,
And
man,
I would say though, I mean, there's definitely a lot of like bullcrap and
uh,
scammers and just things you got to weed through. But I mean, they tend to have the same patterns, just the same style message, the same type of profile. So you just got to do your research, look at their profiles. But there's still a lot of value in Facebook, 100%.
man, normally I would say we're coming up on time here, but I'm having such a good conversation with you. I want to keep this going for 15 minutes. Can you hang on with
Let's
us
do
for
it.
15
Yeah,
minutes?
yeah, let's do it. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so for folks who are on that outside and they're trying to get their way in, looking at Facebook, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think having a mentor, having a partner who will help you mitigate some of that risk is the way to go about it. Yes, you'll give up equity in the deal, but it's a learning experience. You don't just want to have one, or maybe you do, but I don't think typically you want to have just one real estate deal or one rental. You want to expand from there and have a portfolio. Also, in real estate, fast money is slow money. I'll say that again. The fast money is slow money. So you're not just going to stumble into, in most cases, 100 grand. That you could get a wholesale deal that'll have that, but it's unlikely and very rare. I've heard of a
Hmm.
commercial wholesale deal with an assignment fee of $1 million, but that's a very unique deal.
Right, right. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
And so, when I talk to people and they're talking about just how hard it is to qualify for some of these loans or to get into the real estate space when they don't know what they don't know. Partner with somebody, number one. If you're going to go the conventional route, I actually today discovered just how important it is to have a really good loan officer. If you're going to go the conventional route, there's some incredible benefits, for people, military, even new in the military, 6 months enlisted, they can
Hmm.
qualify for a home. So there's all these different ways, you know. I'm really not well versed in this, but USDA, FHA, all these different organizations, ways that people can get qualified for homes. But then also when people have a fix and flip, right, and they have good credit, and they have a partner in the deal, or even if they don't, they could go through the hard money loan process. So, for my money's worth, as far as getting into the real estate space, how to do it, what would be my first steps? Start networking, find a partner, find a deal. And you kind of have to be, I would say, a little bit agnostic to what that deal is, because the partner's probably going to drive it. So you might be like, hey, I really want to do a fix and flip, and it might become a rental. Or, hey, I really want to do a rental, and you might see a great opportunity for a wholesale deal. So that's my kind of general thoughts on that. Have you put any thought to that? Has anyone ever approached you and been like, hey, I'm trying to get into the real estate space. What do I do?
Yeah, I mean, no, it definitely comes across my way quite often. I have a lot of friends, obviously, that know that I'm in real estate, but I tell them for the most part, just because again, going back to my personal training journey, it started off of YouTube. And that's literally how I started in wholesaling. I got into real estate just literally on YouTube, and then coming across my mentor, Rafael Cortez, back in Arizona. And so, but I'm with you on the same thing. I think it's networking, doing your own research as far as YouTube. But if you got to have the genuine interest, I think, because people want to get into real estate just for the money, which the money is good, and it can be good. But if you don't have a genuine interest for the networking, for the actual asset itself of a home, I don't think you're going to do well in this space. And that goes with anything. I think you have to have that genuine interest, right? So I think the interest is the first thing you have to have in order to get into real estate. And two, networking for sure, finding the right crowd, because it's as corny as it sounds, but if you're with 5 bums, you're guaranteed to be the 6th one, so you have to be super, super just aware of your surroundings and who you're hanging out with. So I would say for sure, right? Do your own research, network. And after that, essentially, like you said, man, you don't know what you don't know. So knowing the right people, the right crowd, and as long as you're putting in the time, only good things are going to happen from that. Because if you're just going to quit after a month, you're not really going to get anything done. So it goes with anything, man. I think it's just consistently working at it. But having that consistent mindset will get you exactly where you want to.
I think you got to if you want to be serious about real estate, you got to not quit for 5 years. You got to not. I feel lucky, and I think your story is incredible with, 5 months, but I feel lucky that I've been able to be a part of, the 20 deals or so that I've been a part of in 18 months, a little bit more than that. But if I got no deals out of it, but I got the knowledge, and I was mentoring me, meaning I heard someone, hey, I don't have a deal, but I have the knowledge, I've done this. I'd say, hey, you're on a path. It might not be perfect right now. Let's see what we can do. Let's see who I can align you with, but let's keep going, because, dude, one deal could change your life.
And I would say that too, because it definitely was the big deal for me that secured it, that I said this is legit. But the moment that I knew real estate was real, that spark for me was maybe like 10 years ago, because my sister's actually a realtor. She's a realtor out in Yuma, and seeing her life change was like eye-opening for me, especially just because the way we the way we were born, or the way we grew up, and we weren't dead poor, we weren't like not eating on the streets, but we definitely weren't rich, or we weren't upper class, whatever the case is. But seeing my sister have that change of life, getting into real estate, it was that instant spark for me, that it was just super life-changing. And I was like, if she can do it, I can do it, so I would just say, just because she is for sure my biggest motivator, like, for sure.
What's sister's name?
She goes by Oli. Her name's, we call her Paola, but Olímpica Castro.
Paola. Jefa.
Yeah. That's right.
This is going back to this idea of, 5 friends, you'll become the 6th. I really believe this, like to my core, to where if I'm noticing that there's things happening in my habits, in my mannerisms, in my thought process, I've now shifted from taking it personally to now I think, who in my life is allowing this thought to happen? I used to think like, dude, I'm doing something wrong. Now I'm like, who is putting this? Why am I sad right now? What's going on?
So to that point, so I know some of my old personal training clients are probably going to laugh at this, because I used to say this all the time. I trained a lot of, up and coming athletes, basketball players. And I was just a big advocate about that same situation, right? Who you hang out with, right? And I would always say, like, you have to be so mindful of what you consume at any level, what you're listening to, who you're talking to, who you're around, right? Because what you consume, all that is going to become thoughts. Those thoughts are going to become actions, and those actions are going to become habits. So so it's literally, if you're watching and just hanging out with a bunch of guys that aren't going nowhere, you're probably going to end up doing the same thing, thinking the same thing, because that's all you're around.
Yeah.
You know, firm believer, you are what you really believe, you know?
I'm 100%. Now, Edgar, I feel this also strong. This is highly controversial, but I feel like in the United States, if you're not making $90,000 a year, that you're effectively broke. And honestly, you might be broke up until 130, depending on who you ask. But in most areas, $90,000, anything under than that, you're effectively broke, or you're having a hard time getting by. So with that said, most people are in those shoes. Most people are. So if I'm around people who I know are making less money than that, what I'm thinking is we need to be adding great value to each other. We all have to accept that this is not acceptable. We're having to budget for, one thing and rob Peter to pay Paul. I know
Right.
it sounds crazy, like $90,000 is a lot of money, but like you have student loans, you have your car payment, you have your insurance, you want to take your
Yep.
woman out on a nice date, your significant other, you might want a dog, like dogs got to
Right.
eat, right? All this
Right.
stuff adds up, and before you know it, you're like, I have like $5,000 in expenses. Like, how did that happen? Or I have $4,000. Well, pre-tax dollars, that's $6,000, right? So now you're talking like $60,000 a year that you got to make
Hmm.
just to pay your like basic bills. Well, now let me throw in a vacation. Let me throw in some nice things. Let me throw in gifts.
Right.
Like, so what I've noticed is that as I've been on this journey these last 18 months, 2 years, and I've tried to level myself up, and I wanted to bring my friend circle with me, I had to go through this very painful process of realizing that they do not want to get to a higher level. And not only that, that if I got to that higher level and wanted to bring them with me, that they wouldn't even want to go because they don't want to see me at that higher level in the first place. And this took me fighting with my friends for me to realize this. And it was only when it was like at that level of conflict that I realized, like, oh, these people genuinely do not desire a better life to that degree. Like, they're willing to make some sacrifices, but they're
Yeah.
not willing to make
Yeah.
sacrifices that I'm willing to make. I'm wondering if you've experienced something similar. Have you experienced anything similar to that?
No, I definitely have. I just either it's not really who I'm hanging out with. I'm just really aware that not everyone is gonna want the same thing as you, and so sometimes you got to break those circles. You got to break those circles because, like you said, I mean, you are who you hang with. And so if you know you aren't happy with what you're doing and who you're hanging out with, because you're probably, I don't know if you're hanging out with this person every day, whatever the case is, and friends, for the most part, you're probably hanging out with them every weekend, or you're friends because you have things in common. So you're doing the same thing they're doing, right? So again, if you're not happy with what you're doing, you're going to have to break out of that, And the way I see it, though, is I see it more as I know what I want in a higher level of success, money, whatever the case is I want to be a motivator to those people. I always want to be an example. So if I do it, I want to be like, yo, you can come up with me. And at that point, if they, don't want to work at it, or they end up doing what they want to do, then all right, so be it. I still love you regardless. I'm never going to have any, I guess bad things on anybody because they don't want to level up to a certain part or a certain, type of space. But yeah, I think I see it more as I'd like to level up to at least give them a chance to at least know that it's real and to be motivated enough to want to break out of that cycle.
I'm trying to get on your level of interpersonal tact and empathy.
Yeah, man. No, it comes back. I just honestly love to motivate people. Obviously being a personal trainer, man.
I love that, and I do want that. What I've experienced, is a little bit different. But hearing your story, it makes me think, what is he doing differently? Like, just having this conversation, I've learned so much from you, Edgar, because I'm able to see just the vibe. Like, and that's what you get from people. I call it progression through osmosis. progression through osmosis. So it's not like one thing that you said that like, oh, I'm gonna write down this formula. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I got a vibe. I kind of see what it's like to be you for an hour, and I'm
Right.
like, okay, let me carry that. To the point where, have you ever watched someone like on YouTube and then you meet them in person and you feel like you know them?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
I've had this happen, and I shook the person's hand and I really felt like I knew them. And
Like you knew
also
him.
their
Yeah.
interaction with me, this person said to me, they dapped me up and they looked at my hair and then they said, "Dude, that's my style, bro." Okay?
You said this is my type of guy right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
I'm not
funny.
going to say who it was, but it was a super famous person, Hall of Fame NFL quarterback that I
Oh
had,
shit.
yeah, that I had gotten able to meet. And it was just an incredible experience because I was prepared for the opposite. But
Yeah.
I knew so much about what I felt like was this person's personality that I'm like, how would he like to be greeted? So I ended up going up to him and I was like, hey man, dapped him up and I was like, hey, does my hair look good? And he's like, hey man, that's my style, bro. And I was like,
Yeah, that's
dude, I
cool.
was like, what a great interaction. So, to your point, Edgar, I think the most important thing is networking, I would say, in the real estate space. You got to know your numbers. You got to be able to underwrite deals. You got to be able to comp, so on and so forth. But before everything, you got to be out meeting people. And then after that, just not just in real estate, but in general, it's not just who you know, but it's who do you surround yourself with? Because if I did this personally. I was surrounding myself around people who said this whole real estate thing is stupid. Like what are you going to do? Like, this is not a good use of your time. Like, blah, 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 blah. So you're not going to make any money. You don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. How are you going to buy homes? So on and so forth. And once I took a step back, and I got to figure out what you're doing so that I can be more of a mentor. Once I took a step back and I was like, hey, I need to get around people who are going to push me to where I want to go. Then I started to say, you know what? I'm not just going to hang around people because it's fun. I'm going to hang around people because it might be fun, but also because I see that they have the real estate knowledge that I want to have. So now it's
Yes.
like every time that I'm hanging out with somebody, it just happens to be the case that we're talking about real estate. The only exception is if I'm going country dancing, because I'll make an exception for country dancing. But anything else, bro.
Yeah. No. I'm on the same boat, man. Because even, and I'll just quick little backstory, but I want to again probably shout out Luis at the Arizona manager because he challenged me, especially the first month I started there, because obviously I had a genuine interest in real estate, but coming from the wholesale side. And when I got into hard money lending, both him and Jacob, actually, both of them questioned if I really liked real estate.
Mm.
And they questioned me like two or three times. They really said, man, I don't think you're really into it. They would always tell me, I don't think you're actually really into it like they are. Because every day, man, they're always talking about a deal. Jacob I believe he just closed on his first rental not too long ago. And so they were always, and man, these guys are young. They're 24 years old, both of these guys. And, they're a VP and a manager. And these guys are literally just real estate dogs. That's all they talk about, all they breathe, all they think. And I love that. You know what I mean? And so that's why I hit it off with them right away too. And I saw how serious they took it, the money they're making. And so, yeah, again, I forget where we were at, what the conversation was, but at two different points, they both told me the exact same thing. They said, I don't think you're really into it yet. And it was my first month there. And then that's kind of where it just really took off for me. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking show you guys, and it just sparked just so much more love into the job. And again, just real estate in general. So I think, again, you got to have those people around you because they're only going to make you better. They're going to challenge you in healthy ways that are only going to make you better. So you need to have that surrounding. You need that.
I'm with you. I'll let someone, be hard on me if I'm progressing in my career. Like, you can coach me hard. I will take hard coaching and shut my mouth if I'm progressing in my career. I'm sure you've experienced this, or maybe you haven't, but you know what I'm familiar with what I'm
Oh yeah.
saying here. W-2 job, you might get hard coaching and there's no progression. W-2 job, you might get hard coaching and there's not only no progression, you're not even getting paid better.
Yep.
So it's like you're just there because the people talk about like the benefits, like health insurance. Like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? That's why
Yeah.
I
You're just clocking in, clocking out. Yeah.
so for me, it's I'll take the hard coaching, but we are coming up on time here, man. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
the hour that you spent with us. This is typically a 45-minute show, but I enjoyed our conversation so much and learned so much from you,
likewise, man.
Edgar. Where can people go to get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, so it's hard money by underscore E. So hard money by underscore E. But yeah, I mean, they can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. I mean, I have an email as well. It's edgar@capitalfund1.com. And that's the number one. So if you guys have any deals, any real estate deals you guys need to close on, all I need is a purchase contract, current photos, and then a rehab budget, and I can get you guys terms. So just shoot it over in that email. We'll take care of you.
Edgar, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time here, man.
My man. Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate you, brother.